the Christian roots of the Jewish faith. Shalom and welcome to another episode of The Case for Messiah. And I'm here today with Dr. Golan Broshi, my dear friend. My name is Seth Postel. And today we actually have a very interesting episode. Normally, it's a three-part series. We're used to hearing all the time about the Jewish roots of the Christian faith, which is true, right? Mm-hmm. We need to understand the New Testament within the Jewish world and of course, within the context of the Hebrew Bible. But today we're actually going to be talking about the ways in which the New Testament and Jesus specifically, Yeshua, actually influenced Rabbinic Judaism.
Yeah, and usually when people talk about the Jewish roots of the Christian faith, they usually associate it with Rabbinic Judaism. And here we want to show that maybe we need to look at it from a different angle.
The chicken and the egg, right?
Exactly.
Well, today actually we're going to be talking about three ways the New Testament influenced Rabbinic Judaism. Now, let's stop and talk about, when we talk about Rabbinic Judaism, what exactly are you talking about?
We're talking about the Rabbinic traditions, the Pharisaical. In the New Testament, Yeshua describes them as the scribes and Pharisees. Okay. So we're talking about the traditions of the scribes and Pharisees, which later became Rabbinic traditions, and otherwise known as the oral law.
The oral law.
Exactly.
Okay, so and the oral law, we'll talk about that as we go.
We'll talk about it. Yep.
Okay, so again, what I find to be really surprising is this whole notion of the Christian roots of the Jewish faith, which actually we're going to see that the research that we're presenting is from Israeli scholars.
Israeli scholars, some of them religious.
Which is pretty incredible, and we're going to actually see Yeshua's shadow, Yeshua's presence in Jewish tradition.
Yep, influencing the Jewish traditions.
Correct. Okay, so today we're going to actually limit our discussion, right? At least the next three episodes, we're going to be looking at one at a time, but three ways that Yeshua, or three ways that the Messianic Judaism, or three ways that the New Testament influenced Rabbinic Judaism.
Yep.
So the first episode we're going to be looking at is the ways that Yeshua actually influenced the reading of the weekly Haftarah. Now, what's the Haftarah?
Yeah, so the Haftarah is the portion from the prophets that is read after the portion of the Torah is read. Every week, the religious Jews reading in the synagogue a portion from the Torah, and then a parallel portion from the prophets, which is called the Haftarah or the Haftarah.
Okay, so the Haftarah. So we're going to see that the New Testament directly influenced the reading portions of the prophets in the synagogues. Then we're going to be looking actually at the design or the production of the oral law.
Or the reasons. The reasons for the oral law.
And how Yeshua actually the New Testament actually influenced the oral law.
Yep.
And the third thing we're going to be looking at is how Yeshua and the New Testament directly influenced the Aramaic translation of the Torah, the translation known as Onkelos.
Amen.
Okay, so let's get started.
With the first thing,
The first thing. So you're not claiming, and I'm not claiming, but an Israeli scholar,
Orthodox religious scholar,
claims that Yeshua directly influenced the portions of the prophets that are read every Saturday in the synagogues.
Even today.
Till this day.
Yep. And that professor, Hananel Mack, he published this article in a leading newspaper in Israel in 2005, and it really, stirred up a lot of issues.
Okay, so what does he say, Golan?
So he wants to trace the origins of the Haftarah, the reading in the synagogue, the reading from the prophet portion, the reading of the Haftarah. And according to him, unbelievable, according to him, the first ever historical evidence for the Haftarah is found in the New Testament.
Okay, so let's...
Can you think...
Let me grab a hold of this. Okay, hold on.
This is the most Jewish practice in the world.
So we're talking about every week. Every week, the Torah is read in the synagogue. That's called Parashat HaShavua, right?
Exactly, the portion of the Torah.
The Torah portion. So that's every Shabbat around the world, and it's the same portion. Okay?
Around all the synagogues, the same portion every Shabbat. And after 1 year, you finish the whole Torah.
Okay, and so there's always, in addition to the reading of the Torah portion, there's always a corresponding portion from the prophets.
Which called the Haftarah.
The Haftarah. And so what Hananel Mack is claiming is that the earliest mention
is
of
the historical mention.
The earliest historical reference to this custom of reading prophets along with the Torah is actually found in the Gospel of Luke.
Exactly, and Yeshua is the one who's doing the reading. So you can say the first Jewish rabbi that ever did the Haftarah was Yeshua.
Well, he may not be the first, obviously, but the first reference.
Exactly, the first recorded in history.
The first time it's recorded, which is really interesting. And so what was he reading in the synagogue?
Yes, so he read from Isaiah 61, verse 1, and you can read a small portion of it.
So he comes into his hometown. He goes into the synagogue in Nazareth, right?
As was his custom, it says. As was his custom.
And after the Torah is read, he's handed the scroll of the book of Isaiah,
and he opens it in the place. It says in the right place.
Okay,
you can say.
And it's Isaiah 61, verse 1.
Yeah.
The Spirit of the Lord is upon me because the Lord has anointed me, and we know the rest of the passage, to preach good news to the poor. And so this is the first recorded reference to the reading of the Haftarah in Judaism.
Exactly. And but this is one point that Professor Hananel makes. But then he says he noticed something peculiar.
That's right. What's peculiar? What's peculiar?
You notice this that today the reading of the Haftarah doesn't include that passage for a reason.
Okay, hold on. Wait, let's get a hold of this. So what Hananel Mack noticed was that according to the Gospel of Luke, Yeshua reads, after the reading of the Torah, he reads from Isaiah 61, verse 1 and following, a passage about the Spirit of the Lord is upon him, which was central to his mission. In the Gospel of Luke, Isaiah 61 is key to his mission and to understanding why he came. Okay, and what Hananel Mack is saying is that Isaiah 61 verse 1 is no longer included in the Haftarot.
In the Haftarot that we read
in the
today,
synagogue said it's not read anymore.
Exactly. And he points he makes it clear that he doesn't know exactly when was it taken away, but definitely he says it was for some reason, sometime it was taken away out of the weekly reading.
Okay, so but maybe that's just one instance. Maybe it only happened with Isaiah 61 verse 1.
So Professor Hananel Mack goes on and said that there's a pattern in Isaiah for avoiding specific verses that the New Testament uses from Isaiah is avoided in the Haftarah.
So like Isaiah chapter 7 verse 14, behold, a virgin shall conceive and bear a son, is not read on Saturdays.
Nope.
Behold my servant, I've put my spirit upon him. Isaiah 42 verse 1, not read in the synagogues on Saturday. Behold my servant shall deal prudently. Isaiah 52 verse 13 and following. Isaiah 53, not read in the synagogues on Saturday.
And what's so unique about those verses?
These are all key passages used to identify Yeshua as the Messiah in the New Testament.
In the New Testament, quoted in the New Testament. So Hananel Mack thinks it might not be a coincidence.
Okay, so maybe this is only with reference to the book of Isaiah. Maybe only the prophetic portions that are important in the New Testament or from Isaiah are avoided on Saturdays.
So what Hananel Mack did is say, wait a minute. Okay, so let's go to other scriptures that the New Testament used, other prophecies, and see if it's only bounded to Isaiah. And what he found out, that other passages, key passages from the prophets, are also taken out from the Haftarah, from the reading of the prophets.
And it's interesting. So we, like Isaiah 11:1, right? When Israel was a child and I loved him and I called him out of Egypt,
quoted
right?
by
From Matthew. Okay, Micah 5:2, 5:1 in the Hebrew, 5:2 in the English. But as for you, Bethlehem Ephratah, the prophecy that the Messiah would be born in Bethlehem, also not read. Zechariah 9:9, behold, your king is coming to you. He is just and endowed with salvation, humble and mounted on a donkey, even on a colt, the foal of a donkey. Zechariah 11:13, which is a passage quoted in the New Testament. So I took the 30 shekels of silver and threw them down to the potter in the house of the Lord. Malachi 3:1, Also quoted in the New Testament, "Behold, I will send my messenger, and he shall prepare the way before me."
So all those key passages that are quoted in the New Testament as a proof text for the messiahship of Yeshua is taken out from the reading, the weekly reading of the prophets in the synagogue.
Now, when you say taken out, what I find to be really interesting is that if you actually look many times at the portions that are chosen, it like, in Parashat Balak, you've got the Torah reading of the story of Balak and Balaam.
Mm-hmm.
And what's interesting is that the parallel portion the Torah portion is from Micah, chapter 5, but it starts in like verse 4.
It starts after the
so
verses.
So it misses it like just after, right? Just after the reference to the promise of the Messiah being born in Bethlehem.
Yeah, and we have a chart that illustrates it really nice because you see the Parashat Shoftim.
So Parashat Shoftim, okay, is the parasha that talks about the appointing of judges in the Torah.
And the reading is
Isaiah 51 verses 12 through 52 verse 12.
And then the next parasha, the next week is Ki Tetzeh,
and that's the Torah portion. And then the prophet section is Isaiah 54 verses 1 through 10.
So
52 verse 13 through 53 verse 12 is not there.
Exactly. And
the verse.
And the portions that Hananel Mack started his article with from Isaiah 61.
So you've got Ki Tavo, which is when you come in. Okay, that's the Torah portion. And the prophet portion is Isaiah 60 verses 1 through 22. And then the following week, Nitzavim, standing. And the portion that's read is Isaiah 61 verses 10 and following. In other words, 61 verses 1. Also, it's gone. It's not there.
You skip exactly what Yeshua read in the synagogue. So it's like you took away the first Haftarah in the world, the first documented Haftarah in history. It was taken away.
You know what's interesting is we're not saying that these passages are not in the Hebrew Bible. We're just simply saying that these passages is what Hananel Mack is saying, is that these passages are simply not included
in the
readings on Saturday. For whatever reason, the readings jumped around them.
Yes, so just to sum up that first part, not only that Yeshua is the first ever Jewish man recorded saying that, reading the Haftarah, reading the portion from not only that, it seems like he influenced the reading since then. The reading since then till today. He influenced that reading in the synagogue until today.
Amazing. So we could say he is the elephant that's not in the room, right? It's really amazing. And so again, as we come to the end of this first segment, we're not arguing, Hananel Mack, Jewish scholars arguing that Yeshua in the New Testament directly influenced what is actually being read in the synagogues on Shabbat.
In one of the most Jewish practices we have today, right?
It's pretty amazing.
Amen.